Welcome. Thank you to the Apprenticeship Employment Network for hosting the National Skills Week Industry Workshop. Never before has skills reform been more critical to our nation. Ensuring our workforce has the skills we need for the jobs of the future is critical for rebuilding our economy, especially in the post-COVID environment. Collaboration between government, industry and the community will be vital to the success of our recovery. And it goes without saying that the Morrison government is committed to supporting Australians to stay and work. However, we also need Australians better trained for the jobs needed. And to do that, we need real reform when it comes to skills training in Australia. So we have prioritised skills development as part of the JobMaker strategy, which is designed to set Australia up for the economic success over the next 3 to 5 years. Our multi-billion skills package provides a significant boost to the vet sector. This includes our supporting apprentices and trainees wage subsidy that is providing timely, targeted and scalable support to businesses to keep on their existing apprentices and trainees. This builds on the establishment of the National Careers Institute and the National Skills Commission. These two organisations are working together to strengthen, streamline and improve the delivery of and access to careers information in Australia. Again, I'd like to thank the Apprenticeship Employment Network for hosting this industry workshop, and I hope that you enjoyed today's session. Thanks.
Hello, hope everybody can hear me okay. So good morning, my name is Tiffany Blight and I'm the Executive Director of the National Careers Institute. And joining me this morning is my colleague Grant Lovelock, who is the Deputy Executive Director, Policy and Partnerships within the NCI. He's waving. I'm really proud and excited to be here today to give you a bit of an overview of the National Careers Institute, in particular what we've been doing and what we will be delivering over the next few months and into the future. So firstly, I'll share a bit of that background and some facts which will help me paint for you a bit of a picture about the need for this national approach that we're taking. And I'll also talk to you a bit about our journey to this point. And then I'll invite Grant, who will talk to you a little bit about some of the initiatives we have underway. And then hopefully there'll be some time for questions, and we really welcome you to ask anything that you would like to know about what we're doing. So just by way of quick background, the NCI was established last year on the 1st of July, and we sit within the Department of Education, Skills and Employment. It was part of the Australian Government's Delivering Skills for Today and Tomorrow package, and that's that commitment to strengthening and modernising Australia's skills and careers sector, and also to better link to the real labour market need. So now we know that on average, Australians will have roughly 5 to 7 career changes during the course of their lifetime. Now, quite surprising, that's, well, perhaps not surprising, for today's school leavers, it's expected to increase quite a lot. And the averages are likely to be around 17 different jobs across 5 or more different careers in their lifetimes. Roughly 2.5 million Australian workers change jobs each year. And of the people changing jobs in any given year, more than half are going to move to a different industry or a different career. And this has obviously been more recently exacerbated with the impact of COVID-19 and will be so into the foreseeable future. The really good news, though, is that the research tells us that whilst it's a constantly moving jobs landscape, the skills that you can acquire from one job are transferable, and they say that's to an average of 13 other jobs. The really key fact that I think I want you to take away from today, and that's what drives us in the NCI, is that people who receive that support, that career development advice and support in their lifetime, are twice as likely to find work than those who don't. And that really, really kind of impacts me at a personal level. I'm a mother of 3, and I know that what my kids will experience is so different to what I did when I came out of school. My 14-year-old told me the other day that he wants to be a mechanical engineer. And I admit I don't have a great deal of knowledge or understanding of what that entails, but I'm really excited that he's thinking about his possibilities and what particularly interests him. He loves working with his hands. He's a bit of a carpenter and he'll go out and create some unbelievable things. Does not get that skill from me. But the fact that he's thinking about what that might do in terms of translating to a career path is really exciting to me. He's thinking about it. And he does a lot to inform himself. He searches the internet and he relies quite heavily on YouTube videos and things like that. And I'm sure a lot of it has merit, but what worries me is the information that he might rely on to make this critical decision may not be necessarily the very best. And so my mission as heading up the NCI is to make sure that we have a robust system that helps people like me, parents like me, job seekers and career explorers at any stage to find the information they need to either make these important decisions or provide advice to someone who needs to. Now, my 7-year-old is actually keen to split her time between being a mechanic and a Ghostbuster, but I think I might have to do a little bit more research on what that might entail. So to give you a bit of a feel for the NCI's journey thus far, we built an online engagement website which invited views and opinions about the current career advisory space. And that website has had more than 40,000 views and has roughly 5,000 people who've made submissions to contribute their views. We also sat down and talked to more than 500 people across 300 organisations in Australia. And we examined a large number of websites, some 160 or more in the jobs, training and study space. This confirmed for us what we've been hearing and what people were talking about in the industry, that the current careers pathway landscape across Australia needs simplification and must be more accessible. You only have to put in careers information or careers into Google and you will be confronted with pages and pages and pages of links. There's so much information out there, so much so that it can be pretty confusing and complex. And it's really hard to find that quality, trusted and independent information really quickly and easily. I'm sure you're familiar with Stephen Joyce's review, Strengthening Skills, which I mentioned earlier, and he cited that better career information is needed and that it needs to be clearer so that people pursuing their secondary school pathways and beyond have that access, and there's greater access for more disadvantaged Australians. And that review goes on to say that almost all stakeholders the review spoke to agreed that one of the biggest gaps to be filled in the sector was the provision and marketing of timely, accurate and useful information that would help students and their families choose pathways and vocational pathways. And those sentiments were similarly reinforced in the recent Shergold review looking to the future. In his review, Shergold noted that at present the vocational education training pathway isn't seen as equal to or complementary to a university one. Now, I'll point out here that the role of the NCI is not to necessarily advocate for VET in preference to university, but we're here to make sure that there's a level playing field of that information, that all the facts about possible career pathways are available. This is going to help people who are using our services, and that can be anyone, kids leaving schools, mature age workers wanting to change careers, or someone simply just looking for a new job. They can decide what gives them the best options to achieve what they're looking for now or into the future. And this will help us also engender that real interest and excitement around lifelong learning for everyone. So in that context, I refer to the NCI as being career agnostic. As I said, caters for all people during any age and any stage, before, during their working life. And for me, it's really important that we have a reputation of being independent and providing that dependable, up-to-date and quality evidence-based information that's easy to find, whether it be for anyone at school, whether it be about TAFEs and universities, other registered training organisations and the myriad industries that Australia has to offer. We've been working across the board with governments, education providers, teachers and industry on a range of different improvements that are going to benefit everybody, including many of the face-to-face consultations we've done, I mentioned earlier. In the last year, we've interacted with more than 10,000 people, some through user research or via a user engagement hub that featured on the website. And we will continue to consult. What's really important to me is that we're constantly talking with people about whether or not they're getting the information they need or what else they have in terms of their expectation of what we can deliver. We need to continue to evolve and make sure that we are representative of what people are looking for in the market. And I'm keen to continue to do that. Minister Michaelia Cash recently approved our charter, and the NCI is at the moment forming an independent advisory board with representatives who will bring with them their independent views and expertise, and that's going to help us think about our strategic direction into the future. We have a planned program of other working engagements with external reference groups, with schools, with TAFE university sectors, career and industry peak bodies, state and territory government officials, data experts and regulators. We're really throwing our net wide. As I said, it's really important to me that we continue to engage and consult and hear from as many people as possible so that our offerings are well and truly accepted and enjoyed in the market. And I believe the NCI really could not have come at a more critical time. We truly appreciate the role that we're going to play, not only in helping people to realise their long-term career aspirations, but also in the post-COVID-19 economic recovery. In coming months, we're going to release a career tool, and it'll be powered by the National Skills Commission that will help people navigate their longer-term aspirations. It will also include a specific COVID pathway, and that's going to help people think about what immediate jobs might be available, short-term courses in industries of their preference. So we in the NCI are going to play an important role in providing that trusted and accurate careers information advice that's going to help people regardless of where they are in their career. School leavers who are leaving school for the first time, looking for a job, looking to navigate study, training and job options, or anyone at any point in their career. I'll pause here and I'll invite Grant to tell you a little bit about what we are currently delivering.
Good morning, everyone. So as part of establishing the NCI, the government agreed to transition a number of existing programs to sit within the NCI and to be part of that overarching vision that Tiff has outlined for you this morning. We've continued to deliver programs like the Australian Training Awards, which I'm sure all of you are really familiar with, culminating all of the state and territory awards processes, recognising excellence in vocational education and training delivery, participation and engagement by employers. We often hear the Training Awards being the equivalent of the Academy Awards, or I think as Minister Cash has called them, the Logies of VET, in highlighting and promoting the wonderful opportunities that vocational education and training provide for people. And last year we had over 800 people in the Brisbane Convention Centre at a time when we were allowed to be in those spaces at those numbers, attending the presentation and awards night. We also have a large number of Australian VET alumni. Again, many of you will be familiar with the individuals who comprise our alumni. And within the NCI, we're really focusing now on how we use those personal stories of people to get out and about. Using the online booking tool that we have, and in working with organisations such as this to promote the personal story of young people's engagement, participation in VET, and the opportunities it's provided for them to start their career and start a pathway to learning. In addition, in establishing the NCI, government committed funding to our National Partnerships Grants program, and those of you who joined us earlier on would have heard us talking about the large number of applications that we've received. We've been absolutely inundated with over 600 applications for the first round of that funding program, and look forward to making announcements about the outcomes of successful projects in the coming months. We also are responsible for delivering initiatives that support implementation of the VET information strategy and working with a range of partner organisations to promote targeted inspirational VET and career messages to the broader community and help to switch more people on to what vocational education and training is. Over the next little while, we'll also be announcing a number of new partnerships as part of the VET information strategy, looking at getting to new and different audiences and continuing to work with organisations to promote the positive messages of vocational education and training. Of course, last year, government also announced the appointment of Scott Cam as the inaugural National Careers Ambassador, and he has been working actively, particularly online, given the impacts of COVID, to engage people with his personal story of vocational education and training, and to profile many of our alumni as well. I encourage those of you who have not been on the NCI website recently to jump on and have a look. As part of National Skills Week this week, we have also launched a number of podcasts, which you can subscribe to using whatever podcast service that you rely on. As Tiff said, the NCI is really focused on trying to encourage more people to think about and investigate their careers, and the nci.desi.gov.au is aimed to be the front door to careers advice ahead of launch of the tool that Tiff referred to earlier. And so over the past few months and going on, we'll be using the Australian VET alumni as a way of showcasing the different career opportunities that exist and profiling some of our past and upcoming finalists for the training awards and their stories of success through vocational education and training on that website. The NCI is also interested in working with industries to better understand how we can promote some of the emerging opportunities that vocational education training provide, including partnering with some of the skills organisations to really start to talk about what emerging needs our economy has, particularly now in the context of COVID, and how we can support people to navigate their career journey in that context. Recognising that as a result of lots of people's employment being impacted, we're now also talking to a much broader audience than we were at the point that the National Careers Institute was established. There's lots more to come. I'm really excited, like Tiff, about this next stage of the National Careers Institute. It's been a big 12 months of engaging with organisations and individuals like yourselves to talk about what role the National Careers Institute can play in this space and to shape the first round of our projects and initiatives. I really look forward to continuing that engagement with you to talk about what we do from here and to really start to see the outputs of all of those conversations and engagements that Tiff talked about as the next stage of the NCI goes on. And with that, I'll hand back to you, Tiff.
Thanks, Grant. I really see unlimited potential for what we can do in the NCI, and I probably said it before, and my team tell me that I say it too often, but I am really excited about what it is that we can do. Happy to take your questions. I really encourage you to have a look at the site, nci.desi.gov.au, but I'd ask you to do more than that. Please refer it to a friend, share it with your family, and help us to make a difference. For anyone at any age of their career journey. It's really important. It's not just going to be about us talking about it. It's really about people sharing that and broadening people's awareness of what's available to them. So I'll stop there and would love to open for questions and very happy to take anything you'd like to ask.
Thanks, Tiffany and Grant, for that. I might kick it off because we know people doing these video conference calls are really shy. So my first question was, the JEDI, the initiative that you've got around tracking jobs, are you able to explain a little bit more about what you're trying to achieve there and what you are seeing at the moment?
I love that name, JEDI. It makes me feel like I need to go out and get a sword or go and watch Star Wars again. So JEDI actually has moved in under the National Skills Commission, but my visibility of their work is around their contribution to powering our digital platform. So they are about getting the most up-to-date labour market analysis, looking at jobs in demand and understanding that landscape, because that will be an input into our digital platform, our career tool that will be available later in the year, so that when people go and interrogate their interests and what they're keen to pursue, it will be based on the most up-to-date and accurate data that JEDI can deliver. So it might be worth perhaps in a future meeting inviting the National Skills Commission along, because they're doing some fantastic work in this space, and they can probably give you a little bit more insight than I can do into the technicalities of what it is that they're delivering.
Yep. No, thanks, Tiffany. And I think that's a really good initiative, trying to, I guess, inform people about what are the actual real life jobs that are on the ground there from a vet perspective, making sure that people understand that we're in this space to get a job and an outcome and improve our skills and those sorts of things. All right, thank you. Happy to take any other calls, or if people aren't comfortable in this platform, we're happy to take your questions in email and we can certainly forward them on to Grant and Tiffany in the future.
Do you know, I used to have an old boss that would say that we couldn't enter a meeting unless we received 3 questions, and it always forced people to put their hand up. So you can basically ask us anything. Please feel free. You have every opportunity to do so now, and Grant and I always love to have a question or two. See, look, he's waiting. Grant's waiting for a question.
Gary,
Okay,
I'm happy to.
Gary,
I'm happy to kick off. Thanks for the presentation. I'm just really interested in how the Institute will integrate into the different states through the different career advice and services that are run and the skills commissioners that operate in some of the states? Is there a framework and a strategy behind that?
Yeah, obviously we understand that we are not the only people in this space, and we are engaging with our jurisdictional colleagues on that as well. We want to make sure that we're representing information at a national level, but we're also looking to make sure that our linkages are really clear around what is available locally. So we'll be working very closely with them to do just that. So I don't know that I can give you a framework per se, but we are working with them in terms of what our digital platform will look like and what information that we can promote around particular occupations in location that are in demand for them as well. So yeah, definitely working very closely with our colleagues.
Thanks, Tiffany.
Thank you.
We have a question in the chat room from Scott Westray. Given the large impact that parents have on the career choices of school students, how will the NCI help to support those of us in school settings with promoting the importance of lifelong career development and education to parents?
So the information that's on our website, and they'll be available through the digital platform, while it's about giving it to the individual to make a decision, that's not our only intended audience. And we're really aware that we're going to receive a lot of interest and engagement from people we would consider to be the influencers. So parents and schools, colleagues and friends and family who can also go on there and navigate the tool. And we will be putting together things like webinars to try and get people, regardless of where they are, if they're in a position where they're providing advice, such as career advisors and the like, to understand how they can best use our tool and therefore promote the work and get people involved. We really understand that, you know, sometimes, especially for school leavers, I can't imagine how difficult it is coming into this environment and thinking about how they're going to navigate their pathways. And so we are really attuned to the needs of our career advisors and working with them on making sure their information is accessible and that they can then pass that on and show other people. So parents, obviously we've got associations that we can work through, and we're engaging, I think Grant mentioned and I mentioned earlier in my presentation, our net is wide. So we're looking to engage with anyone at any level, parents associations included, about how we can help support parents the information that they might need to then be that influence and help people make decisions, help their children make decisions about career pathways. But it's not just about what we're doing, it's also open to giving us some advice. We really welcome input. If you have an idea about how we might better target some of these particular audiences, we're really keen to hear. So definitely invite you to drop something to myself or to Grant. If you think that there's a better way or a mechanism that we could use, we'd be really open to hearing about that. Nothing's really off the agenda for us. We're pretty broad in our remit, so really keen to get the information out to everybody.
Thanks, Tiffany. I think we've got another question there from Louise Barrett. She's keen to understand what the timeframes are now around the grants that I think were initially supposed to be announced around September, October. If those timeframes have shifted at all.
So I'm happy to jump in on that one, Tiff. So we are still working towards the same timetable. Of course, with such a significant number of applications, we're expecting that assessment might take a couple of extra weeks. And we're hoping that then, in terms of decisions by the delegates and making announcements, we can gain back some time that we're leading into with assessment. So still working on the same timetable, but once we've completed assessment, we'll have a better picture of the lead time from there. Encourage you to register on the grants page of the NCI website. So each time that gets updated with new information, that will be the opportunity to understand that something's changed. And if any of that moves, that'll be where we're action available first. They're currently working on the same timetable.
Thanks, Grant. We've got another question there in the chat room from Edwina. Interested to learn more about the digital platform being launched later in the year and some of the features about how you may work with various audiences.
So if you want to read a little bit more about it, there's some info on our digital platform project available on our website, so you go and have a look at that. Really, it's about ensuring that people have that central online kind of location to go for relevant up-to-date data. And I mentioned before that we're pulling information from a variety of sources, and that includes the NSC as well. And it'll be a bit of a tool so that people can interrogate what their interests are, think about their experience in the context of various industries that they might be in or might be interested in, and it will come up with some options around people's skilling pathways, their employment pathways and education pathways. So still in development, and we're expecting that it'll be released in a couple of months. So watch out for announcements around that. So I'm really excited about it, so that in the future, perhaps later in the year, I'm more than happy to come back and have a chat to you about that, and we can perhaps show you how you can navigate the tool.
Thanks, Tiffany. And I've just listed the website details there for everyone in the chat room. So it's nci.dese.gov.au. So we encourage everyone to go and have a look, as Tiffany and Grant have discussed today, on all the various features that are loaded. With that, I don't think we have any other. Oh no, we've got one more question here. What services are available for mature aged workers, especially those looking to transition into new and emerging industries?
I wish I had my notes with me, because we've got quite a suite in Skills Group of services that are in fact available to mature age workers. I might drop you a line, because there are some, I think, transition to work activities and things, and they're run out of different areas within the department, but definitely happy to share that with you, and you can certainly have a look at that material. Our career tool and information in the NCI is agnostic to age, so it will be available to anyone, and you can put in there, you know, a little bit about yourself and what your interests are, and what your experience is. So that will obviously bring forward, when the tool is available, that will obviously bring forward different opportunities in terms of skilling, employment or education pathways. But there are some really good departmental programs that I think might be quite relevant. And I'll send you some details about that, and you can circulate that if you like.
All right, that's great. I see there's a couple of other specific questions there. So Louise Barrett, will there be data around careers where young people have learning and access needs, have difficulty with learning and access needs, I'm assuming? So again, I know foundation skills is a bit of a priority for the federal government as well, trying to make sure that people with various backgrounds are not left behind. Yeah, absolutely. And this is part of our partnership arrangements as well. We're working with other organisations that are about how they are supporting people who are more disadvantaged or need some assistance as well. So, you know, we're looking at partnering with a whole bunch of different people so that we can provide more bespoke support through those partners to meet the needs of everybody that wants to utilise the NCI. Thanks, Tiffany. There's one more question there. How do we intend to get young people to come to the website? There's so much information out there. So again, I think that's one of the challenges with all of this, trying to get career advisors and other people to understand where they can access good information from. Oh, I've just gone dark. Hold on. Sorry, I'm not spotting flies. So we've got a whole bunch of different channels that we can utilise, and we'll certainly get information through those particular channels. We did talk about doing a TikTok video, but I think all of us have kind of decided that might not be the best strategy for us and perhaps wouldn't go down so well. So I'm sure it would go viral, but perhaps for the wrong reasons. So I think, yep, you've definitely hit on a point that we're very astutely alert to and aware of. And we're working again with people like Year 13 who have a really good insight into how young kids receive information so that we can tailor our communications. But yeah, our social media channels, it's been quite fortunate having our VET alumni. We've got a number of younger VET alumni members as well, and find that making their stories available through things like the podcast that Grant mentioned, but also through videos and the like, I think is really helpful in us getting our message out as well, because it's kind of that real life lived example of what you can achieve going through a vocational education and training pathway.
but obviously we're also looking to expand that to others as well.
That's great. With that, I am mindful of the time. I'd like to thank Tiffany and Grant for making the effort to join us here today. You guys are doing a great bit of work there, and you've got a lot in front of you, I know. So best of luck with all of that. From our perspective, we're more than keen to sort of work with you and understand some of the programs you're doing, and also about how do we get more young people into apprenticeships and traineeships. So really keen to work with you going forward. Thanks for your time and efforts today, and thanks to everyone who joined us on the webinar.
Thanks for inviting us. Much appreciated. Look forward to working with you all.